I'm Jennifer Lee Levitz, here from the Rose Baker Center in Gloucester, and this is Unleash the Power of Age. Today I'm speaking with a special guest who is an expert on the subject, Mr. Bob Quinn. Hi, Bob.
Hi. An expert, you say?
An expert on unleashing the power of age. I couldn't wait to talk with you. You have so much to tell us. But if we're going to talk about age, I want to start with your youth, okay? Mm-hmm. Just something about your childhood. I know you're a Gloucester person.
Okay. I was born in Gloucester, 1932, during the early part of the Depression. No jobs around. My father worked as a truck driver, making about $15 a week. And from there, I was born in December, and we started to move on, And now, when we got a little older, probably one or two, my mother, still during the Depression, my mother used to take us in a carriage and get out onto the boulevard, okay, and walk the boulevard. That's about the extent of what you could afford.
And I have to interrupt, and you're still walking the boulevard to this day.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Little slower, but anyway.
Under your own power?
Yeah, under my own power. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And meet a lot of people down there that I've grown up with, and so in the Depression, you grow up and you do things with neighbors and just keep busy playing tag and other kids' games, and then we got up about first grade, and went through kindergarten, first through fourth, and then went to East Gloucester. I lived in East Gloucester, and went to the Point Grammar School, which is now torn down. I went to the first 4 grades at the Hildreth School on Eastern Avenue, and the Elks purchased that building for $1, I think, from the city, and now it's their headquarters in Gloucester, and then we moved on from there, up through the 30s. Now we got into World War I, which was 1941.
World War II.
World War II.
Please.
World War II.
Please. Okay.
I lost my head.
Yeah, I know.
and the war came along, and you watch your relatives get drafted and go off into different parts of the service, and some went to Europe and fought in Europe. Others went to the Far East and fought against the Japanese. And now we were old enough to understand what was going on throughout the war, and but we weren't old enough to participate.
Right.
Now in Gloucester, the Coast Guard controlled the harbor, and everyone who was allowed to go down to the piers had to get a pass to get into the wharfs. And as a kid, the Coast Guard walked patrols around the back shore, and we as kids walked with them on their patrols, and it was, you got to know more about it, and they had several houses that they put the Coast Guard people up in, and then Hart's Garage, which is now Conley Brothers, down in Mason, that used to be the headquarters for the Coast Guard during the war.
Okay.
And there was a lot of fishing boats that went out fishing, got overhauled by German U-boats. Some of them were sunk. Some of them, when they pulled the crew off, and a friend of mine, his father had a fishing boat. The Germans came aboard, took all of their food, pumped the fuel out of their tank, put it into the submarine, and then let them go. He ended up calling the Navy after they let him go, and the Navy chased him down and sunk the sub. And the Navy sent his father a plaque, indicating how much he helped the Navy to get even with this German sub.
I never ever hear stories about the U-boats, and I never heard a story about somebody that actually encountered one.
Yeah, his father was a captain of and the others that took him off, put him in the dory, and just sunk the boat.
Oh my God.
So how do you put up with that? Now, and you hear all kinds of stories about Germans landing on Good Harbor Beach and coming ashore, and when they captured some of these sailors, they had stuff that they purchased in Gloucester,
And of course, they sold them whatever they.
Yeah. It was
Okay.
It was an interesting period of my life. You got to know all that stuff,
Right.
And then we went to high school. Graduated in 1951. I got the Sawyer Medal when I graduated from high school. A lot of people don't know what the Sawyer Medal is, but
So what's the Sawyer Medal?
it's an award for high achievement, in the school. And someone, the Sawyers, had provided this medal to about 2% of the class.
Right.
And they start giving the Sawyer Medal out in around the 7th or 8th grade in junior high school. And then every year they select a couple other people to receive the,
Right.
and then they had 3 or 4 molded medals.
Mm-hmm.
And I had donated mine to the Cape Ann Museum because they only had 3 molded type medals, and they never had a copy of mine, so I gave them mine.
All right, so you're in high school now.
Okay, and now all of a sudden, we graduated from high school. My brother and I were in the National Guard, and the Korean War broke out. And my brother says, "Gee, it looks like our battery, field artillery battery, that we were members of the National Guard, they're going to be called to active duty, and we might end up going to Korea, And so we decided, why don't we join the Air Force? So we joined the Air Force together. We went through basic training together with another friend, Sherm Bushy, who was in our high school class. And I was in charge of the students, since I had 3 years of military training in ROTC, because it was mandatory to take ROTC
Right.
from your sophomore to senior year.
Right.
Okay, and then on top of the information that I gathered as a member of the National Guard, we did pretty well. I was in charge of the flight from a student standpoint, and my brother was the right squad leader, and Sherm was the second squad leader, and someone else was the squad leader. And the funny part about this whole basic training, they gave us a test on military knowledge, okay? And so we all took the test, and then they called me in and confronted me, and they said, I cheated on the test. We think you cheated on the test. No one has ever gotten higher than a 72 in this exam, and you got a 98 on it.
Oh, jeez.
So I said, who did I copy off of? That was interesting.
Oh, my God.
So I took the test, and being a wise guy, I said to the guy who gave us the test, I said, well, I'm going through the test a second time, and I said, remember on question 53, I don't know what the subject was, but I selected A as the answer, and it was really C. And so as a result, when they corrected my test, I got a 96 instead of a 98. It was funny, So anyway, I went off to radio school, and my brother went to auto mechanic school. And about a year later, I was heading to France in the Air Force to set up microwave communication systems with the Air Force as a squadron with 280 of us. And I was home on leave on December the 20th, 1952, and my mother got a telegram from the government stating that my brother got killed in a plane crash. Oh, it still bothers me. He was coming home to get married.
Oh, get out of here.
And so anyway, and that'll live with me forever. That's the last time I saw him. And then we spent 3 years in France, living in French hotels for 3 years, installing all of this microwave equipment. And in 1955, I got discharged and decided I wasn't going to spend 20 years in the Air Force. So I started to go to college. I went to Northeastern for a bunch of years nights, and later on, then I got jobs in marketing and sales. I graduated from Northeastern in early part of '70, and then I continued on for 40 years in marketing and sales, and I had difficulty speaking in public, and of course
I can tell. Take a sip of coffee, will you? Give me I'm going to catch my breath. All right, so we've gotten to the point where you're out of the service, and you started working, and you're working in Europe. And when did you get married?
Got married in 1956. 1956. I've been married for 59 years.
Whoa. How did you meet your wife?
Well, when I got out of the service, I knew the people who ran Gover's Gulf Station, and they were friends of my family. So I went to work for them for a little bit, and it kept us busy. And then they have, football game in the season before the season started in Lynn,
Exhibition game?
Exhibition game, yeah. So I invited the boss's daughter, right, Sheila, and we went to Lynn, and then we hit it off. And in 1956, we decided, why don't we get married? And so 59 years later, here I am.
Wow.
Yeah. We have 3 children.
Yeah.
6 or 7 great-grandchildren.
Wow.
And they're funny. Oh, God. There's nothing like them.
Okay.
But anyway, I spent 40 years in marketing and sales.
Okay.
And spent 12 years in international sales. I was on a flight to Zurich, Switzerland every 6 weeks for 12 years. And the trip was normally 2 weeks. And if I had to go to Israel, the trip went up to 3 weeks.
Wow.
And a little funny story about going to Israel.
Okay.
I was with an Israeli agent, and he said, if you give me 4 hours of your time, he says, I'll give you a tour of the Golan Heights. I says, oh, that's okay. So the next morning, he picked me up at the hotel. We got up on the Golan Heights and into the trip for about 5 minutes, and the fog set in, and he turned snow white. He says, Bob, we got a serious problem. I says, what's that? I'll let you know when we get out of here. He says, I have 2 machine guns under the seat in case we need them. I says, wow, this is serious. So we get down the road about 20 miles. The fog lifted. He pulls over. I said, well, what was the problem? He said, well, if you travel this road at night or during the day and the fog sets in, they come out of the woods and shoot up everything with either rocket launchers or machine guns. I said, oh, that's serious. I said, wow. And then another trip to Tel Aviv. I was downtown in a factory, and all of a sudden, the building, massive explosion. The whole building really took off. I said, what's going on? And this engineer I was with says, hit the floor, don't get up till I come back. Half an hour later, he comes back. I said, what was the problem? He says, not a big deal. Somebody blew up 4 cars in the parking lot.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. And that's the way it was over there, The Israelis and the Palestinians, I don't think will ever get along for the next 1,000 years.
Yeah.
But I got a lot of memory and a lot of insight as to what the life was like over there and what they put up with, and I don't think I'd want to live over there.
No. Well, I won't go into how I feel about that, but I've thought of going there. I mean, the world is so weird now everywhere and dangerous no matter where. You can't go to a concert now and maybe not get shot up. So it's like, well, maybe it's just as well to be where they know how to handle getting shot up.
Oh, God. Look at this thing in Las Vegas.
That's what I mean. It can happen anywhere, anytime.
Yeah,
you might as well be in Israel. Anyway, let's get back to this. So, all right, we've caught up to you worked, but then you worked at, I know you worked at the bank.
Yeah, and before I went to work at the bank, I ended up starting to videotape for local cable.
Right, for cable, for KPN TV, where we are this minute.
And I videotaped probably 350 programs, including Rockport Selectmen's meeting. And my wife used to ask me, she says, why do you do that? Because it's got to be boring. I says, no, because in Rockport, they have this group of people on this side and the people on this side. They come to the meetings, so they talk back and forth, and they both got their opinion on how the town should be run.
Right.
So I did that for followed that for about a year, and then I got involved with the Lyceum Committee of the Soy Free Library, and we did programs almost every week. And what I would do is, once I got the program done, I'd take it home and copy it on a printable DVD. I'd run the tape until I see a scene that looks nice. I'd freeze frame it, copy it, print it on the face of a DVD, and then I put the verbiage on it, who the program was, who ran the program.
Right.
And then I used to give a copy to the person who did the talk, copy to the library, and if I was tied in with the Cape Ann Museum, I'd give a copy to them, and they'd put it in their file, so if somebody wanted to review that particular program,
Right.
they'd draw it out, take it home, watch it, and it was very educational to a lot of people who just couldn't get out to see some of these
No,
programs.
that's true. That's
Yeah.
that's a lot of what goes on. That's sort of it's one of the main reasons that local cable access exists.
Yeah.
For people to have access to their community, and I remember you're the one who taught me how to do video, how to videotape an event.
Yeah.
How to do something like at
Well,
the
it's
was at the library, as a matter of fact.
Like 14 years,
I
doing
know.
that stuff. And I'd get on to Good Harbor Beach when they had a massive storm down there and total erosion of the sand dunes. So I spent 2 hours down there videotaping the sand dunes and the rocks that you never see under normal conditions.
Right.
A lot of the sand was washed out to sea,
Yeah.
and they played it on TV
Sure.
probably a dozen times,
Sure.
I guess. And it just showed people what really went on. It was a tough area,
I do, and it's one of the main reasons why we wanted to have this show, why we wanted to do Unleash the Power of Age,
Yeah.
because we know there's a certain segment of the community, and now it's even bigger because the shows now are online as well.
Yeah.
So we're on television, we're online, and we want people to know more about the Rose Baker Center. And we've known each other for a few years now, but then we reconnected at the Rose Baker Center.
Yeah.
You're very active there, and I would like you to tell some of the things that you're involved with.
Well, over the years, I have a technique in doing a lot of arts and crafts.
Yes.
And I've done scrimshaw.
Scrimshaw?
I've done wood carving. I've done wooden signs. I've done metal craft. I've done stained glass. I've done macrame. And, pick it up and get to be an expert at it, and away you go. So once I retired, I said, I said, got to keep active because, that's the secret in getting old is to keep your mind active,
Right.
because so many people just let it die, and all of a sudden they have a negative attitude towards life, and before you know it, they're in a nursing home, and bang, they're gone,
Yeah.
But I got involved down there, and I got to know a lot of people and talked them into taking art lessons. I take art lessons and done a lot of painting down there.
Yeah.
And you have to keep it up. Now I call it, they call it the art room down at the Baker Center, but it really isn't. It's the arts and crafts room.
Right.
Because they do painting, they do ceramic bowls for once a year when they have this free meals.
The open door.
Yeah.
Empty bowl. It's the empty bowl.
Yeah. And this year we did 150 bowls.
Wow.
And they put them down there. They sold them. They gave them to people who put them down for free
I
meals.
did one.
Yeah, you did. I did. Well, they just handed me 5 and said, "Bob, you're doing 5 bowls."
And you did them.
Yeah. God.
You don't stop.
Yeah, and then they have a group of women who knit, sew dolls, little dolls, and they take them to the Far East or down the Caribbean and give them to people who I can't say low class, but
People who need,
yeah,
who have needs, and a doll is a special thing to them. They make them there. They take them to local hospitals as well. There are a few different places that those dolls go.
And we've also done what do they call them? Matting, not matting, but
Quilts.
Quilts.
The
They do
quilts. Oh, the quilts
Oh, yeah,
are,
the
are
quilts.
famous.
And some women do little pieces that depict certain parts of the city. Others do different things, and they put it all together. It covers the whole city.
There's a whole quilt on the city neighborhoods, and some men work on these quilts too.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a quilt that has every state in the Union.
Yeah.
Every state in the United States, there's a second gigantic quilt, which is on view in the cafeteria, in the big room, where they play bingo. And I want to make a statement right now. The Rosebaker Center is not just for bingo, and it's not just for discount purple garbage bags. It includes classes, education.
Legal services.
There's legal services both for regular and immigration.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a notary public.
Yeah.
There's a nurse there every week.
I've had my hearing aids tested, helped out with that.
That's right.
Yeah, and it goes on and on and on. They published, a booklet.
Oh, the schedule, what do we call it?
Flyer. Well,
yes.
what do they call it? They call it the.
It has a name.
Yeah, Coastline News.
Yes.
And
monthly.
They list everything that goes on during the month, what's available to the people, courses they can take. If you want to take a computer course, they have computer courses available.
Right.
I want to take Facebook and a couple other courses, and it's available. It's available.
Covering your face. I know.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
But if you go through this, you'd be amazed at how much information is available. What's available to the people that come into the senior center.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You are also. We won't talk about it a lot, but I want to say that you are also on the board. You're a member of the Council on Aging.
But I try. I can't avoid some of these things, and if I can help out, I help out.
Right. You have your expertise.
But unfortunately, I feel bad for a lot of people down there. You take 10 senior people and put them side by side, and you look at the 10 on their age, and there's 10 different types of physical problems that they have, and they're always looking for volunteers to help the individuals, whether they need a ride to...
the rides, sure.
Yeah, the rides. Now, we bought a van down there, and now they're getting people to volunteer to learn how to drive. Be qualified to drive the van, and if they want to go to the shopping center, put a dozen people in the van, go to the shopping center, stay there for a certain period of time, come back.
Well, CATA does regular trips to different locations, I think weekly. But aside from, I go to the senior center, and God, knock wood, God bless us, I don't have any of those debilitating things yet. Who knows when it'll happen? And it happens. Everybody is so concerned about staying young. And the problem is you can stay looking good, you can stay whatever, but you're going to get older, and you know what happens eventually, and it happens to everybody. So there are many different ways to age, and there are many different people who age differently, and we're there. The senior center, the Rosebaker Center, is there for everybody. There's something there for everybody.
Yeah. Now, I'll be 85.
Oh, get out of here.
No, I'll be 85 in December, and I've enjoyed life, but I have to keep active to keep my brain functioning so I can continue on, And a lot of people say, you don't look 85. Right? I says, well, I sure am.
And most of the time you don't sound 85.
Yeah. Funny. Oh, God.
Occasionally we all sound 85. I think it's important for conversations to go on about these subjects, about being older, about the community, about what's available.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that you took your time and that you wanted to be here to I think it's to help other people. I'm fascinated by your life. I think that
I feel bad that there are so many things that people can do, and they don't expose themselves to the senior center and pick up some of the things that are offered to those people down there.
Right.
You know? But what can you do? They're willing to. A lot of people are willing to open their hearts.
Yeah.
And I sit next to a woman in the art department. She's 93.
You're talking about Barbara?
Barbara, yeah. She had a birthday last week. They put a big sign up, "Happy Birthday, Barbara," and they got her a cake. And she says, "Bob, can you sketch this for me? Can you help me out with this? Can you help me out with?" I said, "Sure," and we get along very well,
Right, right.
Oh,
It's great. It's great. I want to. Let's see. We only have about a minute left, and I'd like to wrap up in some, if not meaningful, at least sensical way, to encourage people to join us.
absolutely.
There's soup and salad bar 3 times a week, free to anybody. It's provided by the Open Door,
Yeah.
and Senior Care supports it as well. And you know who we haven't mentioned today? Our darling Lucy.
Yeah. She's the director of the senior center, and she does so much work. It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
I don't know how she keeps up with it.
You do it, but she makes you look like a slug. You do so much, but she is everywhere. She knows everybody. She is lovely and supportive and smart.
Oh yeah,
and funny, actually.
Yeah, she is. Her husband was a police lieutenant.
Yeah.
And she just runs the place down there.
She's
and she's a beautiful woman.
She's beautiful in every way.
Yes.
And I think that's about it for today. I'm glad we got to mention Lucy. Thank you for being here. If people want to be in touch with the center, we'll be flashing the phone number during the show. And is there anything last word? We have about a half a minute.
Well, I'm going to keep on doing what I'm doing, and in any way that I can help other senior citizens like myself. I ran into a classmate of mine down in Washington, which is a good point about what happens in life. He's walking along with an oxygen tank on his back, right? And he's got a walker. He's walking and very gingerly. And I said, "Hi, Charlie. How are you doing?" "Who are you?" I mean, it was just so devastating, to see how much he's, deteriorated. And we're all getting older. And he probably never did a lot of the activity stuff, but you got to keep your. The important thing in life is that if you got your health, you've got everything.
And if you don't have all your health, you can still live. There's so much that you can still be doing, and there are a lot of people here who will give you as much help as they possibly can. And for people who are like Bob and me, we can still get around, we can still do stuff. There's too much to do. It's actually too much to do at the Rose Baker Center. Please join us where you can unleash the power of your age.
Thank you.
Thank you.